Greetings, friends. Shabbat Shalom. Nice to see you all. Well, happy solstice to you all. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and of course, Happy New Year. Wow, it's a lot in a week as we welcome the season of light. I hope you all go and enjoy the Festival of Lights Change of Season memorial presentation we did the other day. We held it on the change of season date. The winter solstice is the change of season in which we hope for the return of the sun, of light, of warmth, of new growth. And it all does come true. It marks both the darkest day of the year and our return to light. We also honored the lives of those you miss and lit candles for them. So please go back and join us as we light candles for those you miss. And of course, many of you may follow the great practice of Baruch, who every morning says prayers and recites the names of those he has lost, and also gives thanks for the living in his life, a practice we can all learn from. He's a true source of strength for me and the many who get the benefit of his wisdom and his friendship. And as I do just about every year, I head off to communities which have not had regular spiritual services or observations and help provide services to those sometimes shrinking, sometimes simply distant communities. I've done it in the South, I've done it in the West, and this year I will be going north and east to the frigid waters or perhaps ice's edge to help bring some extra light at this dark time of the year when hope is renewed. And because sometimes the internet can be spotty, I may not be able to guarantee a show next week on time. But then I do get to go south for a few days too, so it's not all bad. Well, it is our season of miracles. So let us once again take a quick moment so that we can be thankful for all the miracles of our lives, our health, our happiness, our families and friends, the great love that envelops us and everyone we know. And let us send out energy to help heal those in need of healing and renewal at this time of hope, of miracles, of light, sending goodwill, love, peace, and thanks. It's such an easy thing to do, to transmit energy to everybody that you know in need. So think of those in need and call out healing to them. The kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love you all send out circles the globe, finding those in need. So thank you, each and every one of you. Me, Sheberech, Avoteinu, Makor HaBracha, Limotenu, may the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed. And this week's Parsha really need not have been called Vayashev, and he settled, because where Jacob lived or settled has nothing to do with it. Again, it's this first couple of words of a Parsha dictate what it's called. This is actually, my friends, the beginning of the Joseph Chronicles, more a patriarch than his father ever was. Now, what great book, Genesis. We read about cosmic creation, and we're shown how the universe unfolds. We're introduced to special beings, messengers, angels, who still are in our lives. We're taught about the concept of faith, and how if you have it, you pretty well have everything. And we're introduced to pivotal people in history, and perhaps none more pivotal or historically evidenced than this week's great figure, Joseph. And along with him, we are taught the power and significance of dreams. Once thought to be one of the few means of direct communication with God, and about which it took till Sigmund Freud before we saw another dream master like Yosef. A crash of drums, a flash of light, my golden coat flew out of sight, colors faded into darkness, I was left alone. May I return to the beginning. The light is dimming, and the dream is too. The world and I, we are still waiting, still hesitating. Any dream will do. Dreams, most incredible things, and we all still have them. Well, this is another parsha, my friends, that talks about our theme of the year, faith. And as we get to know him, Joseph demonstrates faith and growth. And that tells us it's never too late for anyone. Now, Noah was the Bible's first man of faith. Abraham the second. Isaac possibly, but we know little about him. The Pharaoh of Abraham and Abimelech, they certainly appear to be men of faith and honor. Jacob does not seem so. He was a fearful schemer, a conniver, a wrestler in thoughts and deeds, always bargaining. But now Joseph is a return to faith and an amazing lesson and example for us all. His rebuking of the attempted seduction by Potiphar's wife was his upholding his faith in his morals, his ethics, and his faith in his beliefs. And it shows why more than one witness would become necessary in court. Here, her word and his garment convicted him. His character may or may not yet have developed enough to show whether there was a disconnect or not, or how easily we can be swayed by fake news. I love that term, based on our own views, or even our own moral compasses. When we were introduced to Joseph, he's a spy for his father, who's earned the hatred of his brothers and appears to have a self-inflated ego, which certainly contributes to getting him into trouble. And if we did not know who he becomes, we would probably say he deserves what unfolds. Now, perhaps he was hated for the reason given in Genesis 37:3. And Israel had loved Joseph the most of all of his children, because he was a son of old age to him, and he made him a coat of many colors. Perhaps the most famous garment in literature, if not history. And we have no idea what it means. But we all can picture it in our minds, just as we do the ark as a boat. And his brothers saw that their father loved them the most of all his brothers, and they hated him, and they were not able to speak a greeting to him. In biblical Hebrew, it is dibaro l'shalom, to speak to him of peace. Their hatred was such that they could not even greet him. Friends, in the standard Hebrew greeting, one says shalom, peace, well-being, for hello. And one says hashalom lo, does he have peace? For how is he? That's how a normal conversation would go. Here we see the brothers cannot even bid him hello or ask how he is. Now, most people, even when they hate their brothers, and does anyone ever really hate their brothers? At least they can be civil, but not here. So what does that say about the relationship, about the family? And our introduction to him, someone who has dreams of grandeur, whether it be sheaves or wheat or stars in the sky. He sees his greatness in his future, and he tells everybody. Genesis 37:5. And Joseph had a dream, told it to his brothers, and they went on to hate him even more. Well, we all know what happens. His brothers conspire to kill him. Now, where did that behavior come from? And they connive to deceive their father. Where did that behavior come from? They will take the coat and they will dip it in blood. And here's where words do matter. The biblical Hebrew and the translation are not quite the same. We translate it as they dip it in the blood of a wild animal. But it's not wild animal in biblical Hebrew. The biblical Hebrew literally means a bad animal. Not just any wild animal. Any animal can be bad without being wild. Maybe it was a rabid rabbit. That would be a bad animal. But we interpret it as a wild animal. It's not. It's just a bad animal. Now, Genesis 37:31. And they took Joseph's coat and slaughtered a he-goat and dipped the coat in the blood. Now this is great. Not that they did that, but what takes place here? Jacob had been paid back for appropriating his brother's birthright. He had to work an additional 7 years for Rachel on account of her sister's birthright. Now he is likewise paid back for appropriating his brother's blessing. He deceived his father using his brother's clothing and the meat and skins of a goat. Now his own sons deceive him using their brother's clothing and the blood of a goat. Notice, my friends, the Torah does not excuse Jacob's behavior at any point in time. Instead, what it's doing is it's teaching us that such acts have consequences, karmic consequences. Well, Reuben convinces the brothers not to kill Joseph. So they throw him into an empty pit that we are told had no water in it. Now, I know some of you may wonder, why add the part about no water? Well, two things are conveyed by this. First, it's empty, and this tells us that he is alone and helpless. Second, there's no water in it, and this tells us that his survival is actually in danger. Now, we don't know for sure how long he's there, but we later will learn that he screamed in anguish while there, and that means his brothers listened to his screams and let him stay in the pit. He's then sold to Ishmaelites for 20 weights of silver. That's a very important, if not karmic, amount. And they then take him to Egypt, where he is sold to Potiphar, a high court official. He's then seduced by Potiphar's wife, ends up in the king's prison, and there will not be any common criminals in here. This is a special prison, where his prowess as a dream master and interpreter comes to the forefront. Now, while there, he meets two very important court officials, none other than the Pharaoh's butler and baker, also in prison, each with a dream that they do not understand. And first, the butler comes and talks to him. And he says, there I was, standing in front of a vine. I picked some grapes and crushed them to wine. I gave some to Pharaoh, who drank from my cup. I tried to interpret, but I had to give up. Joseph says, Genesis 40:12, this is its meaning. He's stating a fact. Here it is, period. This is the meaning. Not this may be what it is. This is its meaning. So this is the first time we see a human demonstrating what we really interpret to be divine powers. He's telling him Pharaoh will free him in 3 days. Then the baker comes forward with his dream. There I was standing with baskets of bread. High in the sky, I saw birds overhead, who flew to my baskets and ate every slice. Now give me the message, like his would be nice. Yes, it would be nice to have that same kind of message, but once again, Joseph says, this is its meaning. There's no equivocation here. In 3 days, this man will be dead. The power, the fascination of dreams throughout the entire Bible. It's incredible. Dreams play such a huge role. And friends, we have the greatest difficulty understanding our own dreams. Do you remember your dreams? Do you understand your dreams? Joseph's dreams, like his life, like his story, is huge. And we've been watching him mature. And we see he has learned to be a man of faith. And we're going to see that especially next week. And we see that as we learn more about this person than anyone else in the Bible, that faith will be repaid and become a beacon for us all. He is, of course, correct in his statements about what's going to happen to these two people. And he asked only one favor of them. Genesis 40:14. So if you'll remember me with you when it will be good for you, and you'll practice kindness with me, then you'll bring up the memory of me to Pharaoh, and you will bring me out of this house. What house is that, my friends? Out of a house of slaves. The prison of slaves. Joseph's words to describe his liberation from his enslavement in Egypt anticipate the description of the children of Israel's liberation from enslavement in Egypt in the opening words of the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord your God who brought you out from the land of Egypt from a house of slaves. The world is sacred, so is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle. Make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light. Continue to shine. Send everybody goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. Let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do. Learn to forgive. Learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. Share your holiness with them. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace and healing. Honor the people in your life. Honor yourselves. Right? We set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our cause, our effect. Everything is linked. Now, as I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You do have that knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you have wronged, and ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. And use this week of growing light to practice forgiveness. And make this affirmation: I forgive those who have hurt me, and I thank life for giving me a spirit that is forgiving and compassionate. Now, do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. It is in sight. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, keep spreading your holiness. Do not follow fear, my friends. Follow love. It's always in front of you. Now you know how nice it feels. Scatter good seed in the fields. Life's ours for the making. Eternity's waiting, waiting for you and me. Moody Blues on the threshold of a dream, and we are on the threshold of some pretty big dreams, my friend. This week, the miracle of light returns. Remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and of all of you. And do not forget to take a look at the candle lighting ceremony. Candles were lit for you to fill in whatever names or wishes you have if you didn't send them in. Thank you all for joining me, for participating, for sharing your lives, your love, your time with me. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Be well until then. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.